I'm never gonna let you be the one to go away. Can it be? I wanna see that I'm memory. Lost history. Can it be? What do I see? Set me free. Set me free. Hurry up. We're going now. Why did you have to pull me down with you? Starry-eyed killer. You take me for a clown. Why did I have to fall for you so easily?
Welcome back to Dances with Poop. Here we are this evening. If you missed the last stream, you didn't miss anything of any consequence. For whatever reason, I couldn't speak properly and was slurring like a motherfucker. This time, I am going to attempt to read without my glasses. I accidentally broke them the other day just by dropping them on a hard floor. So we'll see how this all pans out, won't we?
I did try to fix them.
They are beyond fixing. To be fair, I can take them to work and try to fix them there, but yeah, they're pretty much beyond fixing. But in a few moments, we will begin the reading of Chapter 8. And I was about to say I need to breed, but that's already been and gone. This chapter is called I Have No Future Here, and by here, Greg surely means in a civilized society outside of prison.
I was going to just go, I have no future here either, but that's more of a personal problem that I have. I don't know.
I'm sure I get it. Alright, let's get everybody else on.
Till that point. Hello.
Hello, folky pokes. Let's all enjoy the stream. Let's get in a circle.
Remember, this is a Valentine's
Yes,
episode.
happy.
Oh, yes,
Well,
it is
yes,
though.
it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, but if you wish to be romanced, this is the wrong place. We're going to read literature by a known paedophile.
Spamming F because
But
Jacob
before-
broke his glasses.
Oh yes, the spam for Jacob's glasses there.
Now, before we started, a super chat from the neighbor's kid came in. US $2. Onion Boy, Silly Henson, dicks are for kids. Thank you very much. And Pimp Demon, 50 North Korean bucks. Welcome back to Not Kissing Greg. Makes you immortal until Crystal retconned it. I don't get it, and I don't need to.
Right, should we do a recap of what happened last time?
Yes. What?
He did
Matt,
a-
what happened
yeah.
to your internet connection? I was on the call earlier and you sounded fine, and now
Well, I got a weird laptop that it just froze up occasionally
Sounds
like that.
absolutely fine to me. How about, because you sounded all right, leave the call and come back in, because that seemed to fix it for me. So do that. Just go away, basically.
Right, so do I still sound bad now, or
You sound
no,
fine to
you,
me,
you sound
but it might be
you
for
sound
Jake-
like
you might be
you
weird
sound
for
like
Jacob.
digitized,
Yeah.
like robotic.
And now he's gone. We'll
Yeah,
never
he's
see him
gone.
again. Right, thank.
R.I.P. Matt.
Hang on, how was he now?
how do I
That
sound
sounds
now?
better.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's so weird.
So we're gonna read stuff, I suppose. That's the thing we ought to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that the
Quick
reason
recap
we
of what
have
happened
the
last time.
Well,
Greg did the sexing.
well, actually, I made
apparently.
this channel so I could
Oh, yeah.
I could talk about video, but that just didn't happen. I ended up doing that. I made this channel so I could play Mega Drive games and talk about them.
That's fair.
Wow. That did sort of happen, Jacob, but it never happened, did it? Well, it kind of did.
We've sort of written it out of Stalinist history, but it did take place.
So this is an awful Valentine's gift. I forgot to say.
It is the worst Valentine's gift. Matt, please give us your recap of what happened before we start.
Okay. Last time on the episode of Greg is a nonce, Greg's character, self-insert OC Edgelord, did the sex. Then he went on a road trip, said something mean, got choked out, cried, went to prison, probably got bummed in the showers, and then Jacob ended the stream early.
You know what? I couldn't put it any better myself. Thank you so much for that, Matt.
Keeping me up to
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for keeping me up to speed. Because I missed half of the conversation last time.
Yeah.
You said you had like a wicked bad headache or something.
Yeah, it was about something like that.
And Jacob was dangerously sober. Like nothing was going right in that house that day.
It was a nightmare. So I think we're on the right chapter here, chapter 8. I have no future.
That's all right. Yes.
Oh, you know what I just realised?
Right.
I was like, oh, it's a bit quiet in the chat tonight. It's fucking Super Bowl this weekend, isn't it?
No,
Was
that was last weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yes, 6 days ago. I just saw this thing. All right, so this is me pretending I know about American sports, and you've absolutely just called me out. I've got a little thing here on my YouTube page. You know, you get those. Basically, how they're trying to turn every app into Instagram. So you scroll through your YouTube and you get like the little posts.
Yeah.
It's like, who's gonna win the Super Bowl tonight? And I didn't read that it was from 6 days ago, because it's right there with all this other stuff that's from like 21 hours ago, 4 hours ago.
6 days ago.
Yeah. So.
Well, I can see where the confusion
Okay,
lies.
it's
there.
then it's quiet in
yeah.
the chat because we're hilariously unpopular. Okay, that makes me feel
I know.
much better, Gemma. Thanks for correcting me.
It
Jacob,
was Toby that corrected you.
it was me
Oh,
that
okay.
corrected you. Shh.
That's-
You should have thrown a touchdown or scored a point or whatever they do in fucking American handball with armor.
Super Bowl, or as the Frosties kid would say, the Super Plate.
Like, the Super Bowl, that's where they play rugby, right?
Pretty much.
The ball's the shape of a rugby ball, it's not football.
It's rugby with extra steps, isn't it?
It's basically, it's rugby.
What
but
was that
people are
Frosties
scared to get
advert,
hurt.
kid?
Yeah,
What was
let's
it?
call us. Well, it is more violent, so that's why they wear the. For well, I mean, again, I'm sitting here acting like I know about sports. From what I understand, they are a
think-
lot more aggressive, which is why they have to wear the
Yeah,
armor.
from what I remember being told years ago, like
I don't think that's it.
Americans, they're allowed to like punch each other, whereas in rugby, the only thing you're allowed to do is just slam your hand into their stomach and just grind it. So there's a difference.
They're gonna taste great. They're gonna taste great. I love the sound of Frosty's hitting my plate. Was that right? Was that what he said? Because he still deserves hell when he goes there.
What was it? Onision? Was it Onision pouring Frosties on his plate?
No, that was the Frosty's advert kid back.
Yeah, but like, can you prove that the Frosties kid wasn't Onision?
I've never seen him in the same room.
And to be fair, I've
Let's
seen
say
Onision in the same room as a lot of kids. So, thank you, Daniel Giovanni Ribisi.
every week
Thank
with this.
you, Nate Sirak, son of Giovanni. He says, you can make fun of American football as much as you like, but at least we didn't create cricket. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Good Demon Cobe. It comes from the whole would you rather kiss Onision or that other guy in an earlier stream. Wait, why am I explaining this? Good question.
Was it at least we were in Canada where we decided that like where they decided that hockey just wasn't quite interesting enough, so they decided to bring ice into it.
Yeah, like, you know what? Hockey's not violent or dangerous enough. Let's put it on ice. It's the same. I've brought this up so many times, but I'll never get over it. When we were in Tenerife, and I saw that bottle that said cannabis absinthe.
Yes.
It's like, what fucking executive was tripping at balls on absinthe and went, you know what this needs?
Yeah, that was hilarious. And it was like what? It was like 18 euros.
Yeah,
It wasn't even that
it was
expensive.
like dirt cheap.
And Jacob,
Like, could you make a
question
cocktail?
to you. Why the fuck didn't you buy it?
Don't even have to drink it, just show it off to people. It's like, hey, person on the street, look at this. Oh yeah, that's weird. I know.
It's like,
It's a conversation
it's
starter.
like, hey, who thought this up?
Walk
I
into
don't
a
know.
party
They must
anywhere,
be mental.
Jacob.
That's the...
Like, you know, you're at a party. There's lots of people around. You know how to start a conversation. Pull out the absinthe and just hold it up to their face, and then there you go. You've got a conversation started.
Absinthe livens up any party. Like, I can't think of any party that wouldn't be improved with cannabis absinthe. Jacob, I'm sorry. You should have brought the
It
bottle.
sounded for all the world. Now, it might be your microphone.
I heard absence.
I heard cannabis abscess,
Yeah.
which to me sounds like somewhere in your... It sounds like a horrible dental problem where, like, you've tried to smuggle pot in your mouth and it's kind of gotten buried under your teeth and created an abscess. That's
It's
gross,
like a
and
tiny
I
cannabis plant
apologize.
growing inside your mouth.
Well, I heard absence, which would have been quite interesting.
It's just the empty bottle that's scamming you.
Absence.
We should probably read this. I mean,
All right,
We should
yeah.
probably
I,
not.
I don't
forgot
want
we
to,
had
but it's
story
kind of why
read.
people are here. Like,
I was
okay,
wondering
let's
what that
ask the
charge was for.
chat for a moment. Guys, are you here for us to talk about cannabis absinthe, or are you here for us to read Onision's second novel?
What we were talking about before. What were we talking about before? Let's talk about the Avengers.
Rugby, cricket.
Spider-Man. That's what we were talking about before, and how Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't have a train scene. It's yeah. So there we go, boys. I don't really appreciate. I like Tom Holland, but you know, is he a good Spider-Man?
I'm sick of the sight of him because he just keeps getting signed to various movies, and I'm just like, I know that when the cinemas reopen, I'm just going to see him in everything, and I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. But you can be overexposed as an actor, absolutely.
I mean, I that he wasn't cast as Ellie in The Last of Us TV show that's coming out.
Surprisingly, people are quite happy for us to continue talking about weed-infused booze.
For cannabis abyss.
Well, that's all we know.
Yeah.
There was this booze we had. Were you there, Toby? It was James's birthday, and
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
it was at the Rose of England. I probably shouldn't have said the name of the real pub. I'm sort of dropping the minute a bit.
Edit out.
Yeah,
later.
James, can you can you remove that? Different James, not the James who used to edit for us. We were at the pub, and the chap who was behind the bar was like, "Look, guys, I can't legally sell you any of this, but here's a bunch of different drinks I brought home from Jamaica, and I'm sure just the word Jamaica is conjuring up certain images in people's minds right now. And shame on you, you're all racist, but."
Hey, to be fair, I was thinking of getting stabbed, not just getting high.
And good for you for taking the high road, Matt. So behind the bar
Yeah.
was all he
Is that the
brought
one?
up all
Oh,
manner
okay.
of drinks.
Yeah.
Now the worst one was the pink one,
It
which
is.
is vile. But there was a rum which had a lizard inside,
Yep, there it is.
and there was another drink. Now it was kind of like turpentine. It may have just been turpentine. Because I remember the challenge was you had to swish it round your mouth for 1 minute without crying. Now I was successful, but my mouth was numb. This is absolutely true. My mouth was numb and I couldn't taste for 3 days.
Jesus.
This was given to me in an English pub, you know. And the next thing I remember was going on my way home, listening to the electricity in various lampposts.
I've never heard this story before. I remember the one where you told me about where, I don't know, you got so drunk you were reenacting the Lion King.
That wasn't alcohol, and that also was told to you in
Okay.
confidence. I mean, cat's out the bag now, isn't it? But...
A little.
Yes, I'm Simba. I'll let everyone on the stream know.
I was just the grass becoming wildebeest and the fear. My fucking father's down there.
Yeah, tell me, standing with fucking, what was it, like a fucking dumpster screaming that your father's down there.
I was on a dumpster. It was one of those like boxes that they fill with the electricians have, like they're full of wires. You know, that are, I don't know what they do, but you know, you always see them out and about. And I was just sat on one of those. When I revisited that location, it was like a half mile from where I was partying. So I have no idea, like, why I remember it being immediately next to it. Like I lost about an hour's walk from my brain.
I will say that according to everyone in the chat, they all know about this.
I'm sure it's come up. To be fair, it's one of my most infamous anecdotes because it's so fucking bizarre.
Well, if you want me to share, I've got the drunken story of we were having a party around James's house. I think it's you remember we all just as like a barbecue and we were throwing shit into a barrel and burning it, and I had to go home to catch the train, and then I got lost walking down a single road. I just kept walking down the same road up and down. Like, why is the exit to this street?
Matt, what?
So embarrassing, but
What were you on at
I've
the
done
time?
that. I've done shit like that so many times.
Walk down the street and what? You could see a wall.
I don't know. I got like, it was dark. I was drunk. I might have turned around a couple times. I had enough wherewithal to realise that I'm not going to catch my train, so I just went back to James's place and like slept on the floor.
Like, yeah, don't even worry about it, guys. I've opted, to stay here tonight.
Did somebody, when you're leaving the house, do that thing where you like blindfolded and they spin you round and round and round and round, but then they let you get on?
No,
with
I
it?
think it was just that I was unfamiliar with the road and a bit drunk, or a lot drunk.
Unfamiliar with the road.
Yeah.
At my old
Oh,
apartment,
you did a spin
at my old
in
apartment,
the middle of the road. Oh,
just
no.
outside, there was a very high, very solid wall. It was about 6 foot high, so just a smidge shorter than I am, and just a little bit, even more so,
Is this Jacob's own
shorter
creepypasta?
than Toby. So Toby was coming out of my house drunk, and he slipped, and his head fell only 4 inches down onto the solid wall, and he sort of bounced, and it was as though it didn't happen. He just sort of went and then straight back up again, and I was like, it sounded horrific, like he had smashed every blood vessel in his head. And he just stood up and carried on walking, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's going to die in his
Was
sleep."
that
Fucking horrified.
was that when Toby started talking? Because before he used to talk all
Yeah.
posh, and then after that he just started.
He used to talk like
What do you make
Duncan
up that?
before that happened.
Is that why people think
Also,
Toby's done
before we
something
actually got to the
Yeah.
story, but when I did come back to the party at James's, I did get to see Raymond hit you in the flick you in the dick like 4 more times.
Oh my god.
I don't know why he kept doing that. He was so drunk, he just kept flicking Jacob in
Oh
the
yeah,
dick.
that one occasion where
remember
Raymond
that.
kept hitting me in the cock and balls. Yeah,
Well, the one occasion,
one.
it's like a fucking...
It's a
Oh,
compulsion with the boy.
It's
Riker!
like
Thank you very much for the $5.
judo chopping you in the crotch.
So off topic, but what
I
would you say is the absolute worst story you've heard on the show? This!
Yes.
Why do you think we're talking about anything else?
Bring up times we got drunk and did stupid
I
shit.
remember Raymond falling asleep on my piano and Nathan just hitting the fucking roof, and I was way too fucked to do anything. I'm just lying on the couch going, what's happening? Just Nathan's just
What?
screaming at Raymond.
Jacob, okay,
Playing a
if we,
tune while he was drunk. Rolling asleep. Just...
okay, so Jacob, this might bring you back. Like, do you remember the first time it was me, you, and fuck, I can't remember their names. Like, it was like the first time we all got drunk together in your basement. We watched Monkey Dust.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
Yeah.
weird.
Do you remember Big Black Naked Tito?
I just remember, like, there's a lot of stuff I don't remember, but like I videotaped us getting hammered and watched it the next day, and we were just like, you just going, this needs big black naked Tito. And I remember the one event that I remember vividly was Chris coming back into the room, falling face first onto my floor, none of us helping him. And some 40 minutes later, just the muffled sound of, what the fuck am I doing on the floor?
You've told me that one, I remember that one.
Oh god. Just
Oh,
say
boys.
no, kids, is what we're getting at.
Yeah, like, don't get drunk and watch Monkey Dust. It'll do weird things to you.
So, it's gonna be fun to put timestamps in when this becomes a video. Should we read the story?
Stream starts. Stream starts 6 minutes after where it's supposed to, and then the actual story starts around about 18 minutes after.
You know, if you go back and listen to our other reading of Greg's work, it does take us about 20 minutes to get started. So we've just been filling up with drunken stories of us.
Yeah, to be fair, this point in the stream
legitimately
is usually
trying to
still
follow the
music. So.
If anyone, yeah, that's true. If anyone is trying to legitimately follow the story of this in years to come, good on you, first of all, for trying. But I don't think you get much of the story here. However, you will get a lot of ranting of us. So if you enjoy us as people, I guess, then feel free to join in. We will read the story at some point. We'll get
Toby,
there.
on an unrelated note, I don't know what you were just talking about, but on an unrelated note, 13 people just unsubscribed while you were talking.
Well, I want.
Worth it.
They say fucking worth it.
Thank you, Rotten Thoughts. I'm gonna get drunk and high right now, Cobe. You're gonna end up like me, Toby, and to a lesser extent, Matt and Gemma. Don't do it. Just say no. Thank you, Brain Flayer. Michael R, bringing you random drunken bollocks since insert date here. Since 2013, we've been doing this show. And
Whoa.
We probably should have stopped
ridiculous.
some time ago, but
Yeah.
I never really wanted
What do
to.
you mean,
I didn't
after-
want to grow up, so I didn't. That was my life choice.
Because I started I had my first episode in 2015, but I officially started in 2016, so that's been 5 years for me.
My life is more often than not a series of tragic events, isn't it? This is now the story. Me being like so many other people.
Is it just it's not just
This is
Jacob
now the
looking back on
story,
his
okay.
life.
The chapter name is "I Have No Future Here." There you go.
I have no future, and I got nothing. I was trying to make it. I have no nothing on my screen punt. I had nothing. I just started
He has no
talking, and I
future here
hoped
in this
a
lawful-
punchline would just float in from the universe.
Well, the thing that I kept thinking of was just like you have no power here, like Theoden in the Two Towers. That's how I read it like. But yeah, that was in my own head. Doesn't really make sense.
Thank you, Pimp Demon, and thank you, Rotten Thoughts, for the $2. It's not peer pressure, Cobe. It's a desire to die. Fuck me. Right. I speak up the most when something goes wrong, and today is no different. My little fragile life feels like it's falling apart more than ever before. Principal Lehman found out I was sent to juvenile hall and used that as an excuse to expel me. On my dad's voicemail, he said, I can't remember, it was Toby, I think you did the principal?
Oh yeah, Mr. Linfeld. Your son was already on probation at school. His recent arrest has prompted me to expel him. I warned your son would happen.
I warned your son would happen if
Yep.
your wife kept drinking while pregnant.
I warned your son would happen if he got into any further trouble. The items in his locker will be mailed to the address listed in his file.
Now, my dad refuses to acknowledge me beyond moments where verbal communication is an absolute necessity. It's really not that much of a loss, considering he barely cared in the first place. Wake me up inside. My girlfriend Ashley is still supportive as always. She is basically the only person in my life who is even remotely kind to me these days. It's been more difficult to find an opportunity to see her now that my father is worried I'm going to get her pregnant. Again, with the pregnancy thing, it's weird. Stop it.
It is weird.
He was extremely lenient before because he had no idea we were intimate. Gross. Him reading my journal changed the entire vibe in the house. All the murderous thoughts I expressed having earlier, I'm sure didn't help. But you know what? I don't care. This is who I am. I'm not going to pretend and live a lie like my father does. How do you know that your father lives a lie? There is plenty of ugliness in me. I could deny it and act like it will all be forgiven by some magical being. Or I could just own it. And that's right, yeah. Don't grow. I'm terrible. There's an awful darkness in me that drives me to groom children.
But you know, that's who I am, deep down inside. Always be yourself, even if that self is a horrible, horrible human being.
It's true.
The second option is undeniably more honest. Yeah, but not helpful. Whenever I'm around my dad, it feels like an ongoing passive-aggressive battle. My father, being as religious as he is, refuses to directly admit I've slept with someone out of wedlock. His magical book strictly forbids that, after all. Sad thing is, I've slept with my girlfriend more times in the last month than he has with his girlfriend ever. Okay? Pretty sure my orgasms bring me more joy than his religion ever brought him as well.
Stop.
Please,
Okay.
Greg, don't write the word orgasm again, okay? This is just me begging. Okay, is that what you want, Greg? You want me to beg? Please don't write the word orgasm. It must be awful, laying next to that useless sack of lard, not having the courage to break up with her, all the while not getting any action either. What a joke.
Maybe you should stop, like being concerned with what your father's doing in the bedroom.
It's weird.
It's
Yes.
fucking weird.
My father will say things like, I can't remember the dad's voice. Who cares? So,
Who fucking cares? Like, no one's memorable. It's not like like Rocket, like fucking looking back on like how great Stones to Abigail is in comparison. Like, there's no memorable characters in this.
I don't think I've ever seen an author go from bad to worse like this since JC the Hyena. Typically, people don't get worse over time with their writing. They improve or they stagnate. Greg is getting worse.
Yeah.
And we've got another book to look forward to.
Although everyone keeps telling us not to, so...
Everyone says it's like, yeah, how much of the book are we actually going to read at that point?
And okay, Jacob, how many
What I'm
people
saying-
was it a couple of weeks ago when you told them not to watch that fucked up movie? Was it Necra
Yeah.
something? How many people do you think actually went out and watched
I
it?
really hope people
That's
did.
the problem. Like it's a two cup one girls.
Yeah.
That's that brain
worse.
injury from the war.
You know, it's about like that video. Everyone tells you not to watch it, but what's the first thing you want to do? What I want to see it. It's not that bad. That was a terrible idea. I wish I listened. Hindsight's a great teacher, but you don't get taught that until you get taught the lesson. So therefore, if you tell someone not to do it, they're going to do it anyway. Unless you tell them to kill themselves.
Hindsight's
That's a bit extreme.
2020, which is
What am I
into
saying?
people
Oh
that
yes, I'm
do,
supposed to
like,
be
is pretty
doing the
much like
father's
you
voice.
for Greg.
I didn't hear what Gemma said apart from too old for Greg.
It was one of those jokes that conceptually was good, but the words just weren't there.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously we talked about this the other day about how there was that thing of, oh, do people think in their native language? You're like, no, it's a thought, it's conceptual, it's abstract. That's what happened to you then. You had an abstraction, a little thought that was funny conceptually. Then you tried to translate it into words.
Yes.
And you went, Well, hindsight's 2020, and 20 plus 20, that's two
2020 was a
people.
crap year.
Two of them, both of which are too old for Greg. Whereas when that just existed as like an intangible thing in your brain, it was really funny.
Yeah, it was.
Well, maybe you shouldn't spend as much time with Ashley. I'm always like, what not, father?
What's not? What?
Okay? You know, in exactly the condescending, why not, father tone, anyone who thinks their dad is a total idiot would use. Yeah, but you didn't say why not, father. You said, what's not, father? Suggesting, what's the phrase you used? A total idiot. My father then will say something like, because you need to focus on your future.
Why do you sound like
Somebody in
Robotnik?
the chat asked for us to do him as Robotnik. So
Oh, okay. Excellent.
what that really means, coming from him, is, I read your journal.
That's so good. I can't roll my R's like that. That's so fucking good. I'm so jealous of that.
Where you said you don't use condoms
Yeah,
with your
it's
girlfriend. But I'm going to still pretend like I never read it, despite me already admitting I did when you caught me red-handed. So if you could just not be around Ashley for a reason I'm willing to say out loud, and maybe wake up one day loving the same god I do, that would be great. Idiot.
Is this the original script for the Sonic movie? Not only the original Sonic movie. Not only did they redo the CGI, they redid the script so it wasn't a crossover with like Greg's stories.
I mean, I don't think that, but it's funny.
It makes you think.
Despite everything, Ashley and I are intimate literally every chance we can get. Shut up.
For God's sake, just shut up.
Whenever
Just stop talking about
and
it.
wherever we can tear each other apart, we take it.
Like animals. Literally just fucking flesh off, exposed skin. Think Robbie Williams did Rock DJ. That's happening every time. Spooky skeletons, get it out, bitch.
No, I like to think though, like, turns out Ashley's a Cenobite.
Well, that was yes. Thank you for that contribution, Toby. And when was the last time you heard anyone talk about Robbie Williams?
It's like to remind. Apparently, these streams we have a running thing of reminding people of old things. Robbie Williams is an old thing. There you go.
All right, so hands up, people in the chat who are probably made up of mostly Americans.
Arctic monkeys.
When's the last time you mentioned Robbie Williams?
Pretty sure he's just like a
Not,
one
not
of them
Robin Williams, not the actor. Robbie Williams, the British pop star. Do you remember him, Americans? Do you?
This is like, hey, who remembers the spooks of Bottle Bay?
The Spooks of Bottle Bay, a classic.
Show an obscure British children's television show that I'm quite certain not only was never aired outside of this country, but was too obscure to make it to DVD.
Or it's like how we were talking about the band Travis earlier.
Yeah, it's just strange how this happens. Well, it's because my mum was defending the name Franny for a man. And it's like, well, it's not unmasculine. Isn't the lead singer of Travis called Franny? And I was just like, yes, those bastions of masculinity, Travis.
Yes, but the guy that I was talking about is quite a manly man.
It's a woman's name. Franny is a woman's name.
In Scotland, it's not.
No, it sounds like I've never heard anyone called Franny
Holy shit! Sorry.
because it sounds like a cross between either someone. Because it sounds like either someone's name's Fran and they're trying to make it cute, or someone's trying to insult someone by saying like they're I don't know, like a fat tranny or something like that.
Francis, and he gets
But
called
it
Franny.
it
or
literally
Fran.
doesn't sound like a good name in any way.
The words basically.
He's
I'm
a
just looking at the
fisherman.
chat. There are so many people that have never heard of Robbie Williams. That is hysterical. Look up Rock DJ, the uncensored version.
It's a
of the
strange
music
music video.
and you'll understand that fucking.
Yeah, you'll get the incredibly
Toby.
bizarre reference that Toby decided to make.
All right,
I
so
think the strangers.
so basically, back in ye olden days of '90s, I believe it was the '90s, there was a band called Take That, and much like most boy bands, one of them actually became successful. Quotation marks, and that was Robbie Williams. Like, what's that fucking American? The American version will be like In Sync with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing basically. Yeah. And yeah.
I can't believe I'm
very
saying
fan
this,
of
but can we get back to the story?
Yeah, let's get back to the story.
Considering
go.
I'm expelled, there is a small part of me that still lives in reality and is concerned about. It's certainly not my ethics, but it's concerned about my academic future. This little voice suggested I get a GED. I think my first goal is the good enough degree. That can't be what that says. And after that, the military. What is a GED?
Is it not like a generalized education diploma or something?
We don't have it over here.
Sounds
anyway,
exactly
so...
correct.
It's basically what you get if you didn't finish school.
Oh, all right. It's like a BTEC.
Yeah.
And after that,
Hey, I finished school and I got a BTEC. What the fuck? Was I just that much of a? Yes, all right, okay, yeah, I didn't get. Yeah.
Sorry, just you enjoy your Virgin BTEC. I'm just over here with my Chad A level.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like somebody at my work was bragging about having a master's degree, and I was like, yeah, I got a bachelor's degree, and I started postgrad and dropped out. We have the same job.
Yeah.
So how'd that master's degree work out for you?
How the student loans coming along?
I have qualifications from the University of Nebraska, but it doesn't mean anything.
Well, let's be honest. American university, that's like British secondary school, isn't it? I mean, it's basically GCSEs. I mean,
I have standard.
let's call a spade a spade. That's like a C in GCSE maths. So
I have a standard grade and a diploma in filmmaking.
Standard grade.
Standard grades are what they call GCSEs in Scotland, okay?
Yeah, I mean, they also call men Franny and Blair. So, considering I'm expelled, I don't necessarily love the idea of dying for my country. No, or for any worthwhile cause, it seems. But, I mean, just so long as one of us dies, Onision, that's really all I care about. But it's a great alternative to being stuck with my father and his rotten, hairless, albino moose of a girlfriend. Go fuck yourself.
Still going on about it. He just can't get over it.
I'll give him credit for he's very creative when he's throwing shade at someone we know nothing about.
He's like referred to her in about 16 different ways, and there's like we're in the 42nd page, as he appeared like what 5 pages ago.
Yeah, like, and he hasn't actually properly described this or had any proper interaction with him. The most we know about it is that when he started kicking his dad, she tried to take his boots off him. Is like the most interaction we've actually ever seen.
Genuinely, like the most consistent character trait, aside from just a cunt, that we have for this character is he hates his dad's girlfriend, and seemingly because she's overweight and unattractive. I haven't spoken to Ashley in depth about my plans to join the military. She doesn't seem like the kind of person to just let me go. If I do successfully make it into the armed forces, I think I'd want her to go with me, but I have no idea how that would even work. It wouldn't. Right, that's the end of the page.
Can you really imagine this character in the fucking army?
No.
The silence just speaks for itself there, I thought.
I thought everyone was just imagining him getting the shit kicked out of him by his sergeant or something like that.
No.
Alright guys, we're at the end of the page now, so we're just going to quickly read any super chats we missed.
Okay, yes, Sho Shirogane, thanks for the £2. Don't grow, Cope 2021, also onion to his partners.
Oh my god.
High school girls, I get older, they stay the same age.
And, Riker.
Oh god.
Riker!
Thanks to the $5. You know, there was a female teacher at my old school who adopted and fiddled one of her middle school age students. Coincidentally, her name was Greg.
That's what happens when you give someone
Greg.
the name of like the opposite gender. So don't call a boy Franny or Blair, and don't call a girl Greg.
Francis is a boy's name.
Franny's not though, is it?
Franny's his nickname.
Okay, but Blair's not a boy's name.
Less a nickname and more an insult, I feel.
But the thing is, people in Scotland do that with like Willie and Franny and Billy.
Ah, yes.
Jimmy.
That Scottish exclusive name, Billy.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of another one.
You know those great fucking, like countries are known for like certain things. Scotland, sticking an E at the end of Bill.
You can't claim that as like a cultural thing. Like, yeah, well in Scotland, right, we like to take a person's name and stick a Y at the end.
No, no other country has ever called Bob Bobby.
Like, you guys own that, do you?
No, but we.
I mean, granted, no one else is going to call a man named Francis fucking Franny. I think that's unique to Scotland.
Or Willie, like.
Unless
Okay,
they're
can we also get some-
implying he's a, cross-dresser or something.
Some English bloke, thank for the £5.
Oh.
Arthur should consider himself lucky his dad's a Christian. If not, the first and last thing to enter his head would probably be a coat hanger.
Otherwise, you're just trying to walk over the whole Billy situation.
Yeah, just try to ignore that.
I'll read the super chats now.
It's like, oh, guys, we have to stop talking about this. The fans, they're counting on us to read their super chats. We gotta stop making fun of Scotland now.
Pip Demon, thanks for the 20 kroner. Kobe, go.
She's doing it!
Kobe.
Reads a bit. Alright, let's talk to the chat now.
How are you gonna do that with Toby though, Gemma? You can't, can you?
Yeah, I can stick 2 wires at the end of him. Toby.
Tell you, Gemma, if you want. There we go. I'll read this one for you, Gemma. Emperor Crimson, $5. Thank you very much. Scotland owns the name O'Malley. O'Malley? There you go. Gemma, you read the next one.
Shoshi Rogani, thanks for the £5. Billy Bob McFizzy Juice, the epitome of pure Scottish man.
McFizzy juice. It's like going to go to a supermarket in Scotland. It's like, do you have any squash? Sorry, what? Squash. That weird shit kids drink. Like, do you have diluting juice?
I remember.
Hey, diluting juice. Right this way.
I remember.
I'm just in the back of my mind going, you people need to learn what the fuck juice is.
Don't tell me. That's not. Really? That happened?
I actually
Diluting
texted
juice. You had to define it
I
like that.
texted Jacob.
That's fucking
It was when Logan was gonna come down and visit before we'd actually moved down, and you'd said, "Oh, is there anything that I could get in the house for him?" And I don't know why, but I thought, what if he doesn't know the word for squash? I'll write diluting juice.
It's like diluting juice. Like,
What's
I
if he
didn't
doesn't
realise
know
that
the
you were
name?
criminally insane.
Did you think, Gemma, that he was accidentally going to go down to the sports shop and buy a fucking squash racket or something?
I don't know. My head was like.
Like, diluting juice. Like,
Oh
is
my
this some sort of
fucking
Scottish term for, like, pipe cleaning
No, but
liquid
you're
or
acting like
diluting juice?
You're
Like,
acting
what?
like that you usually say squash. Bullshit! I met your entire fucking family, and they were always just like, "Loggy, you want some diluting juice?" That's just what they say up there. They're like trying to fucking backpedal now.
Diluting.
They're like, oh, we're not a bunch of weirdos that call every beverage juice. Fucking soda pop. You call it fizzy juice. Even the ones that aren't fruit flavoured. Like Orangina, I kind of get why
not
you
a
might call that
juice.
fizzy juice, but fucking Pepsi?
It's fizzy juice.
It's not juice, Gemma. What fucking fruit does that come from? What, cola?
Is this a Scottish, like,
Fucking cola berries.
Jacob.
oh, squeezing the fucking on the Pepsi plantation.
It's like,
on
oh,
the Pepsi
it's one of those
fucking
Scottish
Pep-
Pepsi farms. Look, they still do they have the big bucket, squashing it with their feet. The old traditional method.
fucking Dr. Pepper vineyard.
A Dr. Pepper vineyard. I'd love that, actually. Actually, no, Pepsi vineyard. I'd go to see that shit.
Fucking Pepsi it is. Insane.
Oh,
Scottish is
what?
very,
We make the greatest Pepsi wine juice,
Buckfast.
or as we call it, Bevis.
Thank you very much, Emperor Crimson. Alcohol equals sinning juice. Yeah, pretty much. Got some of that Jesus juice. You know the blood of Christ. I'm like, you mean? Okay, that at least has fruit in. Okay, that's fine. Gemma hears Pepsi Vineyard and simply wishes it was real.
I was thinking that.
I love me some Pepsi, especially get it at a pub.
Does that mean you have to get iron brew from the
In
mines?
Scottish Gaelic, do you know the word for
We hit a vein of iron
in
brew.
Scottish Gaelic?
That's why the
word
prices
for
went up.
whiskey translates to water of life.
I like the way for a moment you went, do you know, in Scottish Gaelic, do you know the word for? And I was like, you stopped yourself? Because you knew nobody fucking knows Scottish Gaelic.
No. There is a word.
99% of Scots don't know it. The type of
I would
people
love to know what this Scottish Gaelic word
the
is.
type
though.
of people
I'm the one
who
interested.
fucking have like the Scottish flag on their Facebook posts, type in their accents, and constantly whinge about quote unquote independence, and yet these people all only speak English.
Anyway, the word.
They don't
for...
speak Gaelic, no. They want independence, but they speak our language.
Anyway, the word for whiskey translates to water of life.
Wow. I like that one.
Abolish the North.
Wait, what is the Gaelic word for that then?
It's it's like it's.
You don't know it.
I do. I've heard of it
Go on.
before. I'm gonna look it up so that I can get it because it's quite similar to like bits of Latin and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. A nation of,
While
a
you were
nation
looking
of
it up-
people speaks a language of a country they hate. They don't know their own language. They can't be
true.
asked. What are they going to do with independence? They'll fucking go bankrupt in a week. Someone who kind of got me.
Should we get back to the story?
into the military
Brain flayer
idea
for the 5
is
Australian
Oh.
dollars. Sorry, yeah, $5 Thank you very much, Brain Flayer. What can I do for you, Father O'Malley, O'Connell, O'Carroll, O'Reilly, O'Brien, O'Sullivan, who is also Italian? Okay. And lastly, thank you very much to Neighbour's Kid for the $5. Oh no, not lastly. Matt forces Mickey Mouse to pick Dr. Pepper berries in the plantation. I mean, why not? And
There's
thank you very much.
always dreaming.
Is that Sam? It is Sam. I think I remember that from last time. England is the primary distributor of Independence Days.
if Scotland
much.
became independent, would it end up like Greece in a fucking week? In a week. I remember when they were trying to get independence, and they said, and like the English said, well, you can't use our currency, and they were like, they just went spare, and they was like, you know, these fucking racist English don't want us using their bank when we're, you know, not contributing to their economy anymore. I was like, yes. You know, like the meme of like the soy Wojak, like the guy with the beard.
Yes.
That's just all it was. It was just all these people was like,
I voted no in Scottish independence.
yeah, because you got common sense. You're like, what should we do? Shall we take a country that's actually quite nice and split it in half and turn it into two inferior countries, or should we leave it like it is?
Well, in Scotland at the moment, you can buy a bottle of what, like one of those like bottles of cider, like Frosty Jacks, and it costs £11 because they've upped it.
Yeah.
There's no one in the Frosty Jack mines anymore.
No, they've just
No one's mining for Frosty Jack.
basically
Yeah.
they've raised the prices
They're
of
drilling.
alcohol from like to 50p a unit. So 3-litre bottle of Frosty Jacks costs about £11.
In my day, we could find veins of Frosty Jacks. Just waiting for us. As soon as we cracked open the mine, we didn't have to go far down
Frosty
at all.
Jacks
These
used to be
days,
£2 for a full, like, 3 fucking litre bottle.
ridiculous. I think it's still
It's
is,
about
mate.
$3.99 now,
Ridiculous.
but even so.
You know, but you know what? The Scottish, they dug too deep in the Frosty Jack mine. You know what they woke up?
I was about to say, was it
Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher?
Yeah.
Nicola Sturgeon.
So, shall we go back to the story where this is just going to get worse?
Yeah. Toby, would you like to take over for a bit?
Oh, I knew it was going to happen.
But
All right,
loving the fact you're
so-
making fun of me.
Yeah. I mean, this keeps happening every stream. I'm just like singling out people who aren't Toby. It's not deliberate. Toby, don't get ideas above your station. I'm not like treating you with kid gloves. I'm just like, it gets to a point where, you know, Matt will say something stupid, or Gemma will just do something like abhorrently Scottish. Yeah,
Apparently
honestly,
Scottish.
it'd be the same if one of the crew was Northern, except obviously I wouldn't let one of them in my house. But like if one of the crew was Northern, they'd be getting it all the time as well. But for once, I've
You know, Jacob, you do have mirrors in your
I've
house.
been going pretty easy on the Cockney, but that will change.
I love
I'm
the
just
Northern,
giving you
though.
a false sense of security.
Jacob, anytime you want to crack out the Jon Snow, anytime, that would just slay me. Just anytime.
The only bit of the Jon
So-
Snow thing I can remember was just the dragon stuck in the urethra.
Got a dragon stuck in the
I think that was one of the only parts I didn't cut
She's
from
my
that.
favorite.
Because in the original Krampus recording before I started editing it, I just went off on one as Jon Snow for 10 straight minutes.
You did.
You should have fucking
I left
it
in the
in, that was
urethra part.
Yeah,
fucking-
that was.
It's like, oh, Daenerys, one of your dragons is trapped in my urethra.
I've got an uncut version somewhere. I need to go back and listen to that.
Oh yeah, so there's a story.
So back to the story. So someone who kind of got me into the military idea is Ashley's brother Thomas. Is it him? He's younger than her, but has plans of joining himself. Thomas told me so long as I get a GED, I could actually get a decent job in the Air Force, so long as my ASVAB test scores are sufficient. It's a bonus that I would possibly get to go to college for free under the GI Bill once I get out. This all sounds pretty fantastic, considering it all points to me never having to see my father or his girlfriend again. To be technical, statistically, I won't wind up littered with bullets either, so there's that.
I was gonna say at least he'll never have to see. At least their father and the girlfriend wouldn't ever have to see him again. So yeah, it works both ways.
It's true. You may wonder why I would never want to see either of my guardian figures ever again. I
I don't know.
mean,
You've been so nice and considerate to them this entire story.
That's true. Hang on, let me just take a drink. I mean, you would if you haven't been paying attention at all this far. Regardless, some things have happened in my past that I haven't yet mentioned. Oh, please go on in long monotonous
Please,
detail.
Tails, talk about it in agonizing detail.
Actually, well, I was in a school in my Matrix outfit. Okay, bye. I haven't yet mentioned again. Additional tragic stuff I warned you about before. After getting expelled from school, I found myself trying to get my mind off what a massive failure I had become. Every day, Every day, Ashley was at school and I would sit alone in the darkness of my basement playing video games and watching reruns of light-hearted TV shows.
Mood.
You may say, but Arthur, I thought you were always motivated. Insert additional idiotic comments. I'm stupid and should shut up. You're right. You should shut up. Beating my father half to death following by getting expelled drove a semi-truck through my plans. My entire life. All I have left is the military.
I'm so death
Okay.
machine.
As
Can we just
As for the
stream
madness-
reactions to his music at some point?
Wait, he has
Yes.
music. When we get
Oh,
to
it
get...
sucks.
Wow.
I streamed one of
Is it
his
just
songs
your
once,
song
and I
remixing?
got a copyright claim immediately from it.
Obviously, it's music. Music has shit hot on it. Like, oh, I hate music. Anyway, so as for the madness that went down recently, the other night I was called down to consume a meal. He is not human. He is fucking not human. Who says, "Oh yes, I can't wait to consume the meal that you have delightfully prepared for me, human wife"?
Ah, this milk has come from
I
a
can
human
eat your
female.
human food. I will use my face orifice to consume it. I believe the eye is a suitable receptor. Gluck, 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 gluck. Mmm, delicious.
I must
Eat it
lubricate
like
my
it's
organs.
like a-
Pass me that fizzy juice.
It's like a fucking Oblivion NPC.
Yeah.
I was called down to consume a meal that was prepared by Frogface, and I just happened to not be hungry. The dish of curse was vegetarian. It wasn't even the bearable kind of vegetarian, rather the type of vegetarian food you eat that makes people wonder if there's anything wrong with you. Let me elaborate on that, please do. There are some vegetarian foods that I find somewhat decent tasting. They're called vegetables. Then there are the fake cheeses vegans invented that taste essentially like your grandmother crapped in a jar of flour, sprayed it with a hose, put it in the oven, ran it over with her car, put it back in the oven, blended it up, put it under the sun to dry, and then slapped it on a veggie burger. You know, I'm so glad he was very descriptive about the taste of fake vegan cheeses over anything else in this story.
Yeah, like
Descriptive over.
You know what?
Um,
I had-
Jacob, have you tried?
I
fake
accidentally
vegan
had some
cheese?
vegan cheese at Costa recently. I say at Costa because they don't let you eat in anymore because, you know, the global pandemic and everything. But I didn't realize it was vegan cheese. It should have clued me into the fact it was spelt with a Z instead of an S. But I thought they were just trying to be cool. It's actually really good. Tasted exactly the same.
Right. Oh, okay.
It's like,
Fair
tasty
play, mate.
fine.
So you wouldn't say, not crapped into a jar of flour, sprayed it with hose, nothing like that at all. Okay, idiot. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Clearly not. I don't want to eat their fake cheese just because they want to try something different than cow puss dairy. Of course, someone with a spine would object, so I did. What happened as a result? Insanity.
Oh, yes. And thus began the dairy incident. 1,000 children dead. Countless injured.
The rise of Darth Vader. Giggins. Just because he
the
didn't like
scary
his fake vegan
dairy
cheese.
Every
incident.
time I read something around EC, and I'm just like, Smithers, have Jared Leto killed. But sir, that's not.
I sa- I sat at the table, took one look at the meal, and
Can I be excused? I'm not hungry.
you know, because my father is a control freak whose kids have to ask him permission to leave the table once they've sat down. Jesus Christ, that's not rude at
Like,
all. You know?
How is that? That's not a control freak thing. That's just
Good parenting.
again. I mean, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but it's just seems to be a very common thing. It's quite normal, I think, for kids to ask to be excused from the dinner table.
Yeah.
That's
Basic
yeah, it's
politeness.
just good manners. Anyway, sorry, Toby.
Yeah. No, it's fine. My father didn't like the idea of me leaving the table without eating the meal his abomination for a companion had prepared. So he
I don't think
commanded me
Onision's in any
stay.
position to complain about people dating abominations when he wrote an entire fucking novel about it.
It's true. Wait, was that his last one?
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
Stone stabs them up.
Yeah, exactly.
I smiled as politely as I could and said,
No, I was asking as a courtesy.
and proceeded to attempt leaving the room. It was at that point my father stood up just enough to pretend he was in control, just out of my pathway to avoid the possibility of me deciding to beat the hell out of him again. What? But just out of my right, okay, he stood up out of his pathway. As I began to leave, he screamed out
Call the cops!
to his girlfriend. She immediately proceeded to the phone in the kitchen and began dialing. I reacted in shock.
Are you serious?
With a nervous expression, my father looked back at me in silence. I could see fear in his eyes. His hands weren't shaking. He wasn't whimpering, but he was clearly terrified of round 2 with his meat-eating atheist
This is
son.
exactly how I think Redditors see themselves. You're going to call the cops on your son for not wanting to eat a meal.
I asked, scoffing at their awful parenting.
Well, actually, the fact you weren't
really-
scoffing, I think, was the issue. All right, is new page. I will return to reading in a moment, but let's read super chats for now.
Super chats.
Brain Flare, thanks for the
So is it?
$5.
Yeah.
Will the Toppler be making a cameo?
I mean, probably.
The thing is, because they've
This really is the same story.
because they capitalized
Mm.
cameo, things as like the Toppler's gonna like make like be on the site.
Yeah, you're gonna get a
cameo.
video of the Toppler just flexing his muscles. Hello, Bernice. The girls at the office tell me you're a huge fan, and I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. He's like flexing the whole time. And remember, stop
Just look at these
drinking
rippling
so many
muscles that can topple
lattes
mountains.
before work because it makes you pee too much. And then Bernice is watching. Ah, that is so me.
Instead,
I
have
do
you
drink a
considered
lot of
drinking
lattes.
some diluting juice?
I do drink a lot of cow juice in my coffee and my hot bean water.
Some English bloke, thanks for the £5.
I'm
Not
not
about
done
Cameo,
on
you can just
making
make
fun of
celebrities say the
Cameo just
weird
yet, Gemma.
shit.
Fuck Cameo. What a stupid website.
It's a
Yeah,
weird
just
website
li-
though.
just-
It's just like, oh yeah, I can get Tom Cruise to call me a
Yeah.
fuckhead for like $4 million.
It's literally you pay money for celebrities to pretend they know you. It's weird. It's like, hi, this is Bill Stevenson Smith from the popular television show, I don't know, Sons of Anarchy or whatever the fuck other people watch. I don't know you, but I've been told that you like to put too much butter on your toast. Keep doing that, my friend. Don't you worry about the cholesterol. Billy, and then
Right.
Billy watches the video and he goes, yeah, that's me. I sure do love too much butter on my toast. Like, who gives a shit? Like, what a weird
You
thing
say
to
that,
exist.
Jacob, but
Like, does no one else
Such
think
a
it's
weird
weird?
thing.
would you would side? Yeah, it
No.
is kind of weird, but at the same time, Jacob, you're totally. If you could get money off of it,
Jacob,
would you
are
start doing
telling me
cameos?
You wouldn't appreciate
Well, yes, of
it
course
if
I
got
would, Matt,
Jason
because I'm a
Statham
hypocrite, and everyone
to-
knows that about me.
To leave you a... You would love that, Jacob, though, if I got Jason Statham in a Stetson just to give you a personalised best birthday message one day and just call you a mug for no reason whatsoever.
I think, I'd rather just get like a nice bottle of whiskey or something.
Well, no, Jacob, I brought this with love.
Yeah, but it's not as good as Sin Juice.
Excuse me, because you mentioned Sons of Anarchy, I'm not finished here, right? There's apparently a character in that show called Gemma, right? Like, played by Leela from like Futurama. And I've never really heard my name in TV shows that much before, or films. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Somebody on a Facebook page asked me if I was named after her. That show came out 10 years ago.
That's quite funny. Are you 10, Gemma?
Apparently so.
I'm going
Are you
to
a time
jail!
traveller?
Well, last week I was in my 80s. I don't know what happened.
I'm going to jail.
So, thank you, some English bloke, for the £5. Does the GI Bill also cover you if you wuss out and cry during a march?
Oh, Onision, what a disaster. What a disaster he is.
The neighbour's kid, thanks for the $5. Greg wants to join the military so he can diddle with kids in Afghanistan and not have it to be illegal.
Yeah.
What?
Mario Master 456, thanks for the $1.99. Brand sells Gune to Mukpane.
It's like goon and pain.
Sounds Scottish to me.
Pain? I don't know.
I ain't got a clue. I don't know what you're talking about.
And Pimp Demon, thanks for the 20 kroner. Ashley Hudson.
I think someone else asked in the chat there what page we're on. 45 out of 130 fucking 6 is the page we're on. So,
Yeah, so with that
there
in
you go.
mind, I complied with their demand that I stay in the dining room for the moment. I was eager to watch the cops rip them apart for wasting their time on something so trivial. After a few minutes, the doorbell ring.
Ding dong. Wait, no, ding?
Just fucking
Ding dong,
Doorbell
I
ring.
guess. The doorbell ring.
the doorbell ring. Ta.
The doorbell ring makes sound.
Jacob, get the doorbell. The doorbell ring.
That's not how you say that, Greg. Me being ignorant of how the world really works. Yeah.
And the way they ring in the
Of
yeah,
how,
that
of
word
how the
works.
world, of how consent laws or the English language. I assumed the cops would be completely on my side. My father explained to them that I refused to eat the meal they prepared, which is why they called the cops. What? I don't think the police would be on their side for this.
Okay.
The police officer my father spoke to looked at me and asked me,
What's your problem?
What? There you go.
I couldn't believe it.
No, okay, so here's the actual response, which is, okay, sir, you're going to jail for wasting my fucking time. I'm a policeman. What the fuck is wrong with you? I know this is supposed to be this is the most any police you rang a policeman came to your door and was like, my son won't eat his dinner. I think he's illegally allowed to shoot you.
I know, obviously, this is the
far.
States, and they have different laws in different states and things. But I do know in the UK, if you did this, you could potentially get charged with wasting police time.
I mean, if your child
Oh,
didn't
you
eat their
absolutely
vegetables,
would.
you can call Santa,
Yeah.
and be like, well, I hear you didn't eat your vegetables.
Is he on Cameo as well?
You're a very naughty boy.
Oh, no.
You're not getting any presents this year.
But yeah, I do know.
going to retire
I know that the whole
from
wasting
Thunder.
police time thing isn't everywhere, because I remember Overanalyst bringing it up in one of his videos, and they don't do that where he's from. But yeah,
Really?
there are some
bad.
places, but I think most of certainly here and probably a lot of places in America, you can get charged for wasting police time. I couldn't believe it. It was such a painfully familiar question. I tried to encourage the outcome I initially expected by saying to the officer, "It seems like they're wasting your time by calling you about a kid not wanting to eat dinner." The officer responded,
You have a bad attitude, kid. We're here to straighten you out if need be. Do we need to take you in?
"This would never happen anywhere ever. The police in
Outside of some sort of 80s
the
movie.
police in fucking Brazil don't behave like this. They just shoot him on sight." The officer glared at me intensely,
and the entire family to cover up the evidence.
as if he was about to whip out his baton and pummel me.
You don't want to be calling the boppies.
I love that there's a quote unquote. I'd be getting beaten up by cops and still giggling that I was like, oh my god, I'm never gonna live this down if I survive. I'm pissing blood. I'm getting beaten up by guys called the Boppy.
The Boppy!
It's just so unthreatening.
Guess what they call the military police? It's
The Boppy.
The Boppy.
The Boppy! What? Where is that?
I mean, they have death squads that gun down children in favelas, but I'm not intimidated because they're called the Boppy. It's amazing. I felt like I was living in some crazy alternate reality. Yeah, I feel that way about you whenever I read your books, Greg, where nothing makes sense and everyone around me plays my completely different rules that have no consistent logic or justification. I felt frozen in my silence. I didn't want to believe a cop would really just threaten to arrest a kid for not eating his goddamn dinner. That's it, though. That's reality. No, it isn't. And I had to.
Not reality. Not reality.
And I had to accept it.
What he should be doing now is, with this knowledge, he should get a bunch of friends to arrange a bank robbery.
Let me stop you there, because you just said he should get a bunch of friends, and already your plan.
You have a point.
Your plan is unraveling.
Yeah, so false flat at point one. But what I would say, theoretically, get some people to rob a bank. Well, he's distracting the cops with the dinner problems by being a naughty boy and not eating his din-dins, while the other guy just knock over a bank or a shop or something like that. Calling all cars. We got armed robbery, but we can't come at the moment. We have to tell this boy to eat his peas.
Yeah, honestly, yes. We had to be friends. We had they would patrol the streets
Sorry.
because the mafia was controlling our water supply.
I'm not over the Boppy. That's fucking hysterical. Are they actually called the
I'm
Boppy?
100%.
That's their
serious.
official title.
Yeah.
It's not like a thing that people call them.
Yeah. Also, as well, because they
It
used
is
to control
here.
the streets, considering at one point when I was living there, the mafia controlled the water supply.
God. Okay. I'm over it now. That's fine.
All right, we're nearly at the end of the chapter.
Brazil, a great spot for vacation.
The cop really, my conclusion, the cop really just asked me what I thought he asked me. He was really going to arrest me over not eating a meal just because my biological sperm donor, don't speak like that, it's gross, ordered me to. I stood there silently looking at the ground. The officer warned me if there were further issues, they'd take me in right away. This would absolutely never happen. I had never felt like a piece of property more than I had in that moment. I wasn't their child, I was a dog to them, and if I didn't obey, it was the kennels for me. Once the officers left, I wasn't even told to eat the food. Once they closed the front door, I literally walked up to the stairs and went to bed. And nothing. After all that, they didn't even bother trying to remind me to sit at the table and eat the meal. They called the cops all so they could wind up complying with my wishes. I don't think it was because they were suddenly, out of nowhere, being respectful of what I wanted as if I was an equal human being. Really? They were probably... Oh my god, I hate the way you write. They were probably just sick of my face. My father was already terrified of me. Maybe sitting across from me at this point would just ruin his appetite. There was no
Spell appetite so poorly.
I
Yeah,
know.
that is
I know.
APATITE. That's awful.
There was no future for me in that household, or in literature. I had to leave, and the military was my way out.
Or polite society.
I would do most anything to make this happen. It will happen. And that's the end of chapter 8. Didn't you guys have a fucking blast?
Yes.
Well, you know what? He only mentioned the sex scene twice. I guess that's better. Hopefully,
But
this chapter will
look on the bright side. We learned about the boppy.
that is true.
Have we really never talked about the boppy
Yes, that
before?
whole chapter. No, I've never been through the boppy.
No,
Oh,
I
he's
know
trying
that. Like, I
to
know about the
tell
Death
us it.
Squad, but I didn't know what they were called.
The
I
boppy.
remember,
Sorry.
like, I was in Rio with Jacob, and they were like, oh, like, they were outside a hotel, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're called the Boppy. And you're just like, could you please get me away from here so I can stop laughing?
This is on the copyright strike.
Basically
Right.
couldn't stop laughing at Boppy.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was.
They sound like if there was like a cuddly puppet show and they had a Death Squad. It's the boppy. Like if the Muppet, if like the Brazilian version of fucking Sesame Street named them.
the Nut Shack, but instead it's the boppy.
Yeah, living in Brazil was a
Why?
weird time.
Why is that so funny to me? I'm a 30-year-old man. But fuck, I shouldn't find these things funny. Like I'm a mature man. I like stuff like Nintendo Sports. Damn it!
It's the Scottish Bonk Squad. The Bonks. So here's like if there's any.
What game is Nintendo Sports? Wii Sports. Fucking hell.
Mutterfucker, thanks for the $10. Y'all a bunch of sweet boys.
Hey, nice name.
Thank you.
Ah, I'm sure you're a sweet boy, motherfucker.
And Sho Shirogane, thanks for the £5. Turns out the cops and Jeff the Killer pulled their guns on Leo, not because he had a knife, but because he wouldn't use it to eat his veggies.
Ah!
Use the knife. Use it on the Brussels.
Who's Mont Sprouts?
Appetite for Minishima.
Son, you better be shoveling beans in your mouth right now. We'll put a bullet in your skull.
Consume the beans. Just fucking shovel them in. By the way, I put it on my Twitter today, but I finished reading Godzilla and Nez for the first time. I've never read it before. Have you read it,
Yes,
Jacob?
I have.
Creepypasta. What do you think?
It's a bit long.
Bit long, ending shit.
Oh yeah, the ending's dreadful.
Matt didn't even realise there was a creepypasta based on Godzilla until I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I presume there's a creepypasta based on everything, but he goes, "Oh, have you read like?" No. Like,
we
why
have had
would I?
requests-
It's like, oh, it's a famous one.
We've
Like,
had requests to do it on
never
the
had anyone
show
bring it
over
up.
the years. It's been requested quite a lot, but we never did it because it's too good.
It's good, and the fucking screenshots are amazing. They are so
Yeah.
good.
There's really good moments, and all in all, it's fine. You know, I still loved it for what it was.
Basically, it's just the ending was. You know.
Well, you can tell me about the ending later. I don't really care if you spoil it for me. So.
Oh, no, I don't want to spoil it for you, mate. You just need to
I
read it.
am never going to read it myself, and we're never going to read it. But that's
What
not
else
the
are you doing
point.
with your time? You're not playing a PS4. I never see you online. I don't even have you on
I have a-
PS4. Please add me on PS4. You won't. I bet you've got Jacob on PS4, ain't you?
That's not
No,
even fucking
I
business, Toby.
don't,
Jacob wants a PS4.
because I think the last game I played on PS4 was Like a Dragon, which is a single-player game.
I've been playing like
Together. Wait, no,
way
you
too
can't.
much
You can't do
Grand
that in
Theft Auto
Bloodborne,
5.
can you? Can you summon
played-
each other's game on Bloodborne like you can in Dark Souls?
I don't know.
You're the one who keeps
know what, it's
going on
been-
about it.
It's been years since I've played Bloodborne. I remember it being good.
Well, that's a very descriptive. Thank you, Matt. I will play it on your request of it being good.
Yeah, it was good, and it was a very early PS4. It was like an early PS4 game. I had a poster that came with it. You know what was on the other side? The Order 1886. Who fucking remembers that?
Oh, that was a shit.
Anyone remember the
No.
fucking order? No.
No, I remember that.
Tesla versus werewolves. Of course,
This
no
is-
one fucking remembers that
This
game.
is a good time for anyone who's in the chat if they want to go to the toilet, because we're going to be chatting here for another couple of minutes before we start on chapter
I'm
9.
doing chapter 9. I'm tired.
Not chapter.
We've only done one chapter. We haven't only been on for Jacob. We've only been on for an hour and 15 minutes. We usually do this an hour and a half.
I know, but like I want to have a sandwich.
You should have had something to eat before we
I did
started.
have lasagna.
How about- Fuck
It's
yeah.
not that long. It's just
This boy is hungry. It's actually not too long. I mean, if you want, I could read most of chapter 9 if you like.
I can read some of chapter 9
you're a
as
big
well.
sissy girl bottom.
If you're a bit sissy girl bottom, I know it's 10:30. I could shit this out in about 15 minutes probably if you just shut
Yeah,
up
like the
and
reason
read
it takes so long is if we just go off on tangents about Brazilian death squads.
Okay, well you guys carry on reading.
Fine.
I'm gonna go make a sandwich, but I'll come back. But Gemma, you'll have to jump in my
Alright.
chair so that because obviously it's our screen that the audience can see, not Toby's or Matt's.
Right.
So
Well,
you'll be
I'm
you'll
still
be
taking
the
a couple of minutes
scroll
talking about
person,
bullshit.
Yeah,
the ninja.
Oh, the scroll person.
the Elder Scroll.
Ooh.
person.
Yeah, you can come and
Can we have
I
a?
was
Come
gonna
here and
go.
be the elder.
I was gonna try and turn it into a scroll, so fucking Captain Marvel punch you in the face or something.
Can we have it as like a jingle every time you scroll? Because we had a super chat jingle before, Gemma.
No, we can't. Start
No.
with as it. Faith in humanity is just another religion. Chapter 9.
Chat per 9. Okay. So yeah, let's do it.
I'm here.
So, thank you, Gemma. Yeah, I was just talking about your super chat jingles. I love them.
Cool. So do you want to read first or shall I? I don't mind.
You go because you've not done, and then I'll jump in a
Okay.
bit.
So I read over this journal a bit and it's pretty clear I've been a pretty depressed pain in the butt.
Let's put it lightly.
Yeah,
Pretty.
I mean, it's not untrue, but at the same time, I would use stronger language and maybe thrown something at you.
Yeah. If you're reading this, you're probably confused as to why the sun changed. Well, the situation has changed a lot. A lot has happened since I wrote the last entry, so I'll help you catch up.
It would be helpful if you had dates or something. Then we could have some sort of like a timeline.
Yeah,
but
it is supposed to be like a journal or something like that, but it's just like she's actually writing it as a chapter
I'm not
form.
being funny, but if I was doing a journal, I would date it. No, who doesn't? But that's just
Yeah,
me.
like I would date a journal. Like I would put
But-
like timestamps even.
Yeah, if you're writing it from the perspective of I'm writing a journal, then like letting no time part I mean it's not very well written as a journal because it keeps going when audience and you're writing this for yourself and apparently your
Right.
dad that one time.
Obviously, in Creepypasta is where it gets too far, where it's just like 12:34 a.m. I heard a knock at the door.
Yeah, it's not.
12:36, on the 6th second. Oh,
What-
he's coming
what-
in now.
Was that blood whistle or was it? No, it wasn't blood whistle.
It was one of the ridiculous ones.
We've read too much shit. Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, I did wind up getting my GED and applying to join the military. Ashley wasn't happy with me wanting to join, so she basically acted like if I decided to run off to basic training, she would consider that me leaving her. Despite Ashley's feelings, I had only one decision to make. I had to choose between being around a crazy father 40% of my day and only seeing my girlfriend maybe 10%, or I could choose to have a job and likely never see either of them again. I chose to walk, and since I made that decision, I've completely lost touch with Ashley. Aw, what a shame.
Wait. Are you telling me that your high school romance didn't work out? Fucking shocker!
Dark horror. Also, Jacob
Oh my
in the
god!
chat there.
Hollywood and anime has lied to me.
Jacob in the
Your
chat
one
there.
true love wasn't found at the age of 15.
Yeah, what the?
God.
Oh, Matt, I love your insight.
Yeah.
And also, I'm just trying to say that, Jacob, in the chat
Gay.
there, you guys would date books and you call me weird. Well, yes, I would date a book. Not as in taking it out, for a meal or a situation like that. Or, just put the actual date and not the time, as I say.
Yeah, if you're writing as a journal, then you would probably put times and date in to try and make it feel like a journal and not just like, oh, here's a
Alright,
chapter.
Whatever. already established he's not a very good writer anyway, so why are we picking so much into the date, I suppose? Also, someone mentioned that thing we were trying to take the piss off out of Frozen Roger said it was the Inugami, so there you go.
Oh yeah, that JC the hyena one about shit. There we go. I couldn't remember what it was about.
I'm glad you remember what it was actually sort
It
of
was about. I was actually thinking about the one where he, the other one that was about like guy who was doing it day by day, where he started. It was a ROM hack or something like that, and each day, like, it ended up with having 10,000 people as subscribers or something like that. I can't remember what one that was.
I Hate You.
No, it wasn't I Hate You. It was.
Oh, was that the one that was like,
I
is
think
this
I-
ROM hack the work of the Illuminati? I think that was Blood Whistle.
Oh, that was. Oh yeah, that could have been that.
It might have been Blood Whistle. Yeah,
Did it
maybe.
end with him
Okay,
killing
yeah.
himself?
Oh,
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that was it then.
Honestly, the only thing I really remember about Blood Whistle is just fucking off in the middle of it and reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Did you legit do that? I think you did, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like
Oh,
fucking
yeah, that's
Jacob
right.
was reading Machiavelli and I was reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, we just made.
Did that. Oh, fucking what a great time!
And you guys
that
like
was.
sang the ending.
Well, And we're still here doing the same shit. Well, this is not the same shit that we've moved on to this shit. Anyway, sorry, gentlemen, move on. Let's get
yeah,
on.
let's get on with the
Suppose.
story that's
Ooh.
very, very uninteresting. It's like,
Mm.
you would expect me to be more broken up than I am. But she went cold on me the moment I confirmed I was leaving. It was like the second the words left my lips, she erased everything about me in her mind, and suddenly I was no one. It was mental.
You're mental.
So someone who doesn't like your decision of like, leaving her. Well, yeah, would it being like joining the military basically mean you're spending at least 4 years in basic training or something? So it was basically saying you're breaking up with her first anyway.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Mm.
Regardless, I already went through MEPS, the Military Entrance Processing Station, that nobody wanted to know what that meant. And I'm pretty glad that's over, considering that was one of the most significant aspects of me processing into the military. While I was in the processing station, I witnessed a lot of human failure. Was everyone you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did he walk into a hall of mirrors?
It's just like, go God, why?
I thought I was joining the military, but I actually became a carny, and I got stuck in the hall of mirrors.
The whole thing was actually quite terrifying.
I was named as Bobo, the sad clown. Children would throw rotten fruit at me.
So, important progress update. I was gonna make a sandwich, but then I remembered that you bought these pot noodles.
I did.
Oh, so that's that. You could put the pot noodle in a sandwich, though, Jake, and make a pot noodle sandwich.
Right, Toby, I know you're going through a lot right now, so I'm gonna let that slide.
Jacob, like,
But no,
bends
I-
time and space and
I
jumps through your monitor to
killed
punch you in the
men
mouth.
for less.
Jacob's like, if you were any other man, I'd kill you where you stand.
Jacob, I don't know if you saw Weetabix's Twitter the other day, but everyone went mental over they put Heinz beans on fucking Weetabix, and everyone saying, "Oh, it's a delicious combo," and everyone got involved. Like even KFC Twitter said they should be filed under the Geneva Convention. It's quite.
Baked
how
beans
interesting. It's
and
great.
Weetabix. What are they? Hi.
I hate brand.
I don't
Twitter.
know.
Brands
Mm.
are the second worst thing about Twitter. The first worst thing about Twitter is all the pedos.
True.
I think
Sorry,
the actual worst thing about Twitter is just Twitter.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hate them. I thought you were talking about the actual, the real things, maps, but no, I understand that. I know what you want about there. Yeah, fuck maps.
Yeah, they're minor attracted people.
Mm.
Oh, I thought you just really like getting lost.
No, I can't survive without Google Maps or when I'm in like London and places. Jesus Christ, it's so good.
You just wander down back alleys, ask the
You wanna
friendly looking
fucking
people
figure out
nice.
how to get around anywhere. Just use Google Maps. It's ridiculous how much it knows. Can't live without that.
Because it's a giant, it's a map. It's a map.
It's a map. Funny that.
What?
Anyway. we're just losing our minds over here. It's been a long 8 years.
Yeah, what you just said implies that we're losing our minds and not you talking about how great maps are for finding things.
Oh, Jesus. Alright,
Anyway.
so I witnessed a lot of human failure. It was an interesting experience seeing grown men cry, because they didn't have the depth perception to be pilots. Some of the men weren't physically strong enough to even be considered for any job at all. So that's you.
For example.
For example, me. Some of the men... Oh yeah, I just read that. They even didn't...
Like, wait, wasn't he making fun of people for crying? And, like, what did he do just last chapter?
Cry.
He sat on the side of the pavement and cried or something,
Oh
didn't he?
yeah, he did. Yes, because he beat the shit out of his dad
Yeah, 'cause he's been a menace.
for no reason other than the side that his girlfriend was
Stealing his boots
Guy's
or something.
dick. Honestly.
They even denied people for having a blood pressure level they didn't like. I understand being upset about being rejected entirely, but some guys were sobbing over the fact that they just couldn't get that girl into the basement. Just couldn't get...
Just fucking slide that one right in there. Fucking like fucking dirt between the ribs there, Gemma.
Like he does with underage girls. Yes.
Over the fact they just couldn't get the specific job title they wanted.
Oh, job title. Okay, it wasn't basement related.
Like, life for a lot of people seemed to be about not appreciating what you have and always wanting more. What?
More underage girls in the basement.
Just a constant stream, apparently.
One of my old friends has bought a house on the river.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That's cool.
Now you know what it's time to do, Jacob. Muscle in.
I've taken a boat up there. I know exactly where that spot is.
Oh, that's cool.
Jacob,
no,
you're gonna get
Just saying
YouTube
to muscle
striking
in
for
now.
music.
I mean, I couldn't even tell what that music was, so I hope YouTube didn't.
Jarbled scramble is all I heard. We are on chapter 9 now. Yes.
Abominable girl. A bomb 1-0. If the same guy who failed the vision test and cried actually passed it, he would no doubt have another episode down the line. Maybe.
Didn't that happen to you? Didn't you have an episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, didn't you cry because you couldn't march?
Didn't you cry, Matt, because you couldn't find your way down the single path?
I didn't cry. I wandered around drunkenly singing.
Was it my...
What were you singing? What the fuck were you singing?
I tried to sing. Was it "Tell Me the Way to Go Home"? But I couldn't remember all the lyrics.
To tell me the way to go home.
Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where am I?
Tell me
I'm drinking and I'm looking for the train.
Some poor fucking bloke in like his gown, like some 90-year-old man, looks out his window, just sees some fucking you going around in a circle outside of his flat and just singing that song.
I wasn't like wandering around the flat. I walked up and down the road and like, all right, do I go left or do I go right? Got confused and then ended up walking back.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna exaggerate that story in many ways possible. That's fucking hysterical. That still
To be
happened.
fair, I was trying to find my way back
Oh.
to my friend's house and I ended up face planting in a graveyard.
Now, what graves did you end up resting on? Was it one of them nice World War graves, or was it one of them untended
I
graves?
do not know. I just know that I was in a
Well,
graveyard.
apparently it's important. Oh god.
One of my first house parties. Alright, so maybe it would be some other test he'd fail, or some administrative decision that denied his wishes to fly the specific type of plane he wanted. Self-assigned victims will always be victims. I don't want...
I mean, the it's the hypocrisy is so thick you can cut it with a knife.
Literally.
I don't want to call him pathetic, because I'm trying to be more positive, but...
Because I live in a glass house.
But my hate runs deep and I can't feel sorry for people who go out their way to feel sorry for themselves. Oh, really, Greg?
I mean, at this point, we really don't need to say anything. He's doing it to himself.
it's no longer someone else. It's just him. You know, fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
like I know the videos he was making when he lost his patron were like for the most moods, like his Patreon were like exaggerated, but like I can't help but feel there was a little bit of truth to those videos where he's like, you went for the money, you went for the Patreon.
Literally.
And you got
You know,
Guys. Let's see where.
I'm loving.
Jacob, is
I'm
Jacob
loving
done with his
the,
pot noodle yet?
It's a king one. It's gonna take a while to eat.
Oh, King. What flavour? This is important.
It's chicken and mushroom.
Oh, well, it's not my favourite, but it'll do. You know, they didn't have beef.
Wait,
and
why is he
tomato,
eating? Wait, Jacob's eating chicken and mushroom pot noodle.
Yeah, they're vegetarian.
All pot noodles are vegetarian.
Yeah, what happened to beef and tomato?
Beef and tomatoes alright. My favourite is probably sticky rib.
My favourite's the Thai green
Oh.
curry one, and it's really good.
Oh.
That just so much chaotic energy just came off you there when you said that.
Yeah,
Skip to say it. What the fuck?
Thai green curry one is really good, and the chicken korma one.
Sure. It doesn't
I like the
exist.
sweet and sour
It doesn't
one.
fucking exist.
The worst one's Bombay Bad Boy. There, I
Absolutely.
said it.
No, it's shite.
Oh god, that is awful.
It's just heat.
The chat. What's your favourite pot noodle? This is what people tune in for. Get your opinions
Sticky
for
rib
your
is
pot noodles here.
objectively the best one.
We are not endorsed in any way by pot
Shit
noodle.
about Sticky rib.
Stop doing that,
The
Toby.
shit about
What?
sticky rib is they don't make king pot noodles of it.
I saw one once.
When?
It was a while ago. I think your mum bought me one.
No, yeah, that was a dream.
I'm sure I
No,
got.
that was just a really pleasant dream.
Damn. I'm genuinely sure I've had one before. Gemma, I knew someone who put sugar in their pot noodle. Who are they and how can I kill them?
What the?
Sugar.
Yeah.
You know what this
I
pot
know
noodles
that
need?
exists.
A little bit of
The logo-
sweetness in it.
The logo on the king pot noodle for chicken and mushroom is a knight with a mushroom insignia on his shield who's riding a chicken the size of a horse.
That's hilarious. I've never noticed that before.
Pot noodle. Noodle pot. What do they call it? Cup noodle. I think that's what they have in America. Cup
Just-
noodle. Yeah.
Or
That's what they are.
ramen.
Basically. Yes, it's basically the American
weebs.
version. It's like I'm trying to explain. What was it now? That fucking. Oh, I can't remember the juice name you said earlier.
Diluting juice?
Diluting juice. That's it.
I'm never gonna live that down.
Like I'm
am
trying to
I?
say that. You're never
No,
gonna-
you're never going there because it's the
Eric.
single stupidest thing anyone has ever muttered in the history of the planet.
I am sure that is not the only time you have said that. That is his. I'm sure that's one of your catchphrases now, Matt. You hate everyone. I love it.
Once I was.
I'm sure you hate us in some respect.
I hate you, Toby. I hate you so much.
You know, I feel that. I feel you do. And I hate you too.
That's why I threaten to throw you into a wood chipper every time. Like that's how I greet Toby by threatening to feed him into a wood chipper.
It's very endearing.
First thing I say to him, like,
Once
Right.
I was through MEPS, it wasn't long before they had me sitting at the airport waiting to fly south. All the new recruits gathered at the entrance of our plane. We easily identified each other somehow. Maybe it was the look of dread we carried, knowing that in the next couple of months of our lives they were going to be sitting next to me. We were all probably running from something. The strong desire for flight is so consuming. No matter what our reasons for being there was, I'm pretty sure my family dysfunction had them all beat. Ah yes, this is
Oh yes.
like
I am the most fucked up on the plane.
yeah, I'm sure like there's like that like you know like I like that he's like oh we're all here for dysfunctional reasons, but I'm the most dysfunctional. No one's here out of like you know no other options or just like patriotism or anything like that. And also like I'm the like we're all here for terrible reasons, but mine's the best.
Yeah, literally. Why does he have to have the best sob story? Why can no one else have like been through any sort of trauma?
Well, you see, that makes him the best. Like, if he makes everyone else worse than him, then he's best by default.
Yeah, it's oh for God's sake. So I'll read this next chapter and then Toby, you can take over.
Yeah, I'll take over, of
Alright.
course.
Well, not chapter, paragraph.
Next-
That was what I meant.
Yeah, I was gonna say next I'll read this next chapter and then we stop for the
Yeah.
evening.
When our plane landed in Texas,
It was like a good deal to me.
when our plane landed in Texas, no one was there to greet us. We had to follow signs in the airport just to get to the waiting area designed specifically for military members. The room was insanely crowded already. Their schedule was specifically targeted at us arriving in the middle of the night, in part so that meeting the training instructors for the first time would be twice as terrifying. Something about hearing screams of pure rage at 1 a.m. cuts deeper through your skin than screams accompanied by sunshine. It's just mental terrorism 101. Thanks for that, military psychopaths.
Hey. So, thank you, Tim. Yeah, you go for it, Gemma.
I'm like, that's just a terrifying image that I never want to read again.
Yeah.
Or anything by Onision.
I mean,
Well, I've got some news for you, Gemma. We have still got a fair few pages to go.
no, and
So it might be happening.
I mean, I may sound like I'm laughing, but inside I'm crying a lot.
Just the way Onision likes it.
It's like, Pimp Demon, thanks for the 50 kroner. Fun fact, 17th of May is the Constitution Day of Norway. Also, Mothra is better than Kong.
Why does that rhyme? 17th of May is Constitution Day of Norway. That rhymes completely. Is that supposed to? Also, Mothra is better than
that's
King Kong.
why
I mean, the second line doesn't really rhyme there. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, your rap started out strong.
I'm good, right? Yeah. Also, Mothra is better than King Kong. Well, Mothra at Kong. Do you mean Godzilla? Oh, I suppose. I don't know. Who cares? Mothra probably is better than Kong. Who loves Kong?
I like King Kong.
Who are you voting for?
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, you know, I've said this a million times, but you'll note they cut the word king from his name because he died. He died to protect a human woman, and that's no true king.
Because now he's no longer a king.
Yeah,
He's,
he's simp Kong.
he's stripped of his title. He is just Kong. That is. Where's King shit though? You know, trying to save a girl. Well, not jumping up there. I mean, he could have gone somewhere else.
Sorry, Toby.
But whatever.
Trying to save a female is king shit.
Simp.
I don't know who you are and what you've done with my friend Toby, but I will kill you.
Simp.
You're not allowed to say that anymore, Gemma. Twitch has declared that you can't. So you have to call them like first tier subscribers now.
Yeah, but we're not on Twitch, are we?
Yeah, but Twitch's almighty
The thing is,
grasp
revenge is not an idea,
has
it's
declared it
plan.
an illegal word. It's it's worse than the N word now, Gemma.
Simp!
It's worse than calling an old person a boomer. It's far worse.
What if I say it backwards and it sounds like...
Do you think you could train a dog to say simp? Come on, say simp, simp. Who's good boy?
That boy. Yeah, Godzilla is. I hope he destroys Kong. I mean, come on.
No,
he's got
well,
a fire
okay, so,
breath. Come on.
well, yeah, it makes sense, but like, look at the trailer.
Sorry,
Like, clearly, every single time in the trailer where King Kong is beating Godzilla, that's clearly going to turn out to be. I'm going to spoil it. Turn away, but that's clearly going to be Mecha Godzilla. Because do you think the Japanese, for a second, would let them like just utterly body their fucking mascot?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like-
true. No, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, who do you reckon's got the bigger deal there? Exactly. So.
It's like, that's why Cobe rips on Gemma being Scottish. It's his simp it's his simp deflector.
Alright,
So Toby, do you want to read the rest of the
I am.
thing?
No, I'm eating pot noodle.
Oh, I said Toby.
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard Kobe.
I said it by
Is that
mistake.
your official title now, Jacob? You can add it to your official nickname.
Yeah, only when he's in Scotland. He needs to You know, like how you occasionally get like Asian people who have two names, like like Raymond. has got his like
Corby.
English name. So like whenever Toby's in Scotland, whenever Kobe is Jacob's in he's gonna be Kobe.
Ubi.
Corby,
Kobe Bryant.
get your ass in the film. I don't know what accent this
It's
is.
not Scottish, whatever it is.
Toby's Scottish accent. Oh, aye!
Okay, the
I'm
new.
Toby!
I'm Pirate Hagrid.
I can do, I'm afraid. It sounds like a pirate.
You're a cabin boy, Harry. Have you heard of pegging?
Arr, Jim Lad.
Jim lad. I'll make you walk the haggis.
After we were guided like mindless cattle onto the buses, arriving in a seamlessly endless line. Just outside the airport, we were driven directly to our training facility at the local base. Each bus was welcomed by the screams of sociopaths and people who were, no doubt, never hugged
He's
as
back
children.
in the mirror hall again.
After waiting for about 30 minutes outside, they directed the group of 40 or so trainees with me into a small classroom. Once we were inside, they verified our individual identities and assigned us flight numbers. After this process was complete, we were called out by the flight number and called out flight numbers we were given, and from that point we were directed to our new homes. These facilities were essentially composed of one massive room shared with up to 60 other trainees. I could explain, but it was exactly what I expected. As training progressed, I quickly realised that I had abusive training instructors. I know this because shortly after I graduated BMT, one of the TIs who led our flight, Sergeant Johnson, of course, was demoted for punching a trainee in the face. She regularly took things too far. It didn't help that she knew how to abuse us mentally, physically, and
Of course,
emotionally.
the sergeant's a
Most-
woman, so that he now has an excuse to be completely misogynistic again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you picked that up. Most training instructors would leave the heart alone, but for Sergeant Johnson, emotional abuse was her primary function. Again, we're both going back to robotic shit. When I first saw Sergeant Johnson, I thought she was a gorgeous little firecracker of a woman. She was about 5 feet tall, had an enormous amount of freckles and red hair. If we had the energy or privacy to gratify ourselves at night while in training, we would in no doubt be doing it to her.
What?
But
So I can hear Jacob retching in the kitchen while he's eating his pot noodle.
What?
I don't know. But the fantasy with my training instructor only went as far as my ignorance of her true nature. The woman turned into a monster, and not the kind you'd expect from a drill sergeant. Let's dive into an exact scenario. I was walking in a level in Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Monster of Monsters, sorry. The screen went red and it said run. I was running for a while, and suddenly this monster came on the screen. Oh wait, no, that's red. That's not a monster. We were also a couple of weeks into training, and I was almost certainly alone in the sleeping area. Oh, please don't fucking tell me this is going to turn into anyway. Most all the other trainees elected to attend church that fit their religious beliefs that day. I had no beliefs and refused to go into any church. Sergeant Johnson had to stay behind.
Do you think it was actually they all went down to like the local bar or to play pool and they just didn't invite him?
I mean,
I would love to think so.
I hope that he was
Just
like
get away from
the
this
one that
jerk.
everyone shat on in the military.
Pretty much. Sergeant Johnson.
Like, as is, like as we talked about several times, and as I think Toby's, you watched a documentary about him. This is sort of like his semi-autobiographical sort of wish fulfillment. I like to imagine that, like the instructions weren't especially mean on him. He's just a big baby who wasn't ready to join the military.
they interview his dads in the first like 5. I've only watched like the 10 minutes of the first episode. They interview his dads about the car incident that we go through earlier, and he says he never choked him. He just took his headphones off and then he started kicking essentially the shit out of him. So. Oh, no,
Seems legit.
Yeah. Yeah. So where were we?
So is Jacob still eating that giant pot noodle? How big is the? Is it a bucket?
It is a bucket of pot. You are obsessed with him with the pot noodle. Leave the man with the pot noodle, okay?
I just like his. I don't like Jacob on his channel on his show skiving off to eat a pot noodle in the toilet.
I respect the pot noodle. Right? I respect
Cobra,
it.
you
Okay?
finished the pot noodle?
Respect the pot noodle. No. He's been finished for a while. That's fine. We're all getting through this. I had no belief. Sam refused to go to any church. Sergeant Johnson had to stay behind with us, basically babysit us due to not being willing or go to pretend to love any god. As I was cleaning my locker, by my bunk, Sergeant Johnson screamed, "Who wants to be Sergeant Johnson?" There we go. I screamed back.
Cobe? It's you.
What's my line?
Trainee Lindfelt reports.
Trainee Lindfeld reports.
You need to do it in a different voice, Jacob. That's
No,
so.
that is the voice. He would always speak
Oh.
like that. He commands nothing else. Sergeant Johnson stood at the entrance with another female military member and angrily stared in my direction.
Get over here and lay on your back immediately.
She screamed at me in basic. You're what coding? You're taught not to think
She
for
screamed in
yourself.
binary
So she started speaking
because I
in
joined the
JavaScript.
robot army.
That joke because it's capitalized basic there. So I'm just thinking, what is that the fucking coding language? That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, so it turns out that like he's left out a few details that this takes place like several thousand years in the future, and there's a war between mankind and robots. But he joined the wrong side. Oh no! He has to disguise himself as a robot.
I don't like where this is going either, Shadow White.
In basic, you're taught not to think for yourself. You're taught to do exactly as they instruct. Otherwise, you're punished through paperwork or forced exercise. I moved to the ground in front of the two women as they commanded. Sergeant Johnson then called me over the other trainees and instructed them to do the same. Despite us only being feet away from her, she screamed as if we were still across the room.
Put your feet and hands straight up in the air, trainees.
We all proceeded to put our feet and hands in the air. It was at that point,
Like we just didn't care.
chuckling to the other female drill sergeant, she said, and I quote,
See, that's called a dead cockroach. That's what I was talking about.
Sergeant made us hold that position for a good 3 to 5 minutes. If you've never done achieved the position I'm
If you've never
referencing,
done achieved.
I encourage you to. If you never have done, couldn't just put that
Or
word
just
in there and made that
if you've
as
never
correct?
achieved.
If you have never achieved, or just get rid of the word done. Yeah, completely. If you never have done. If you've never done achieved the position I'm referencing, I encourage you to. It's likely the only way you'll understand how painful it can be. It's actually ridiculous how many exercises and positions can quickly become intensely painful if you just push slightly further than you're used to. However, dead cockroach wasn't even an exercise, it was a humiliation. I don't really care that she called us idiots while we did it. I wasn't worried about feeling treated as if I was a piece of property. I was used to that by now. My main focus was not to upset the TIs more than they already were. I could never allow myself to be the weakest link.
Bye.
As the moment I fell out of line, I could be washed back and possibly have to retreat an entire week of basic. At one point in basic, due to my failure to maintain my composure, I was forced to point and laugh at the other trainees as they did push-ups. Who wants to be the male technical sergeant in
Cobe, do you want to read this?
really.
No?
So many guys. I'm glad to get so many votes there. I'll take over there.
Like you sort of just like you just sort of like fell off, and I thought the mic had gone dead or something like that.
No? Just saying who wants to be the technical sergeant, but I'll do it. I am sick and tired of your morons screwing up day after day. Trying to do the Halo announcer voice there. Game over. I hear that a lot.
Continue.
The male technical sergeant in charge of our entire flight screamed, "You're embarrassing the Air Force. You're embarrassing me, and you're in no doubt in humiliating the very vaginas you were born from."
What?
Hearing him say that caused me to let out a slight but noticeable burst of laughter under my breath. It was one of the stupidest things I'd ever heard a person
Yeah, you
say.
wrote it, Greg.
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately for me, the tech sergeants heard my slip up and marched towards me so he could scream in my face, "All right, trainee Linfeld, how about you stand over there?" He pointed just to the right of where the entire flight was standing in formation. As I marched over to the spot, he pointed to he commanded over. Sorry, I'll try that again. As I marched over to the spot, he commanded my fellow trainees to point to face right. The sergeant then commanded them to get into push-up position and immediately instructed me to point at all of them on the ground. The tech sergeant then said sternly, "Trainee Lindfeld, you will laugh at them and remind them why they are pushing because of you." I was trying so hard not to lose it again on the tech sergeants with laughter. He could see I was amused, so he marched over to me and got in my face once more. "Do you want to be washed back? Do you want to repeat the entire last week with another flight?" He asked in a low, angry tone. In that moment, I almost instantly lost all amusement from the situation. I absolutely despised wasting hard work. If I continued my attitude, I would be screwing myself. So I proceeded to say out loud in a monotone voice. Perfect voice, by the way.
Cool.
Jacob?
You've got a line.
What's my line?
Ha ha ha. You're all pushing because of me.
Ha ha ha. You're all pushing because of me.
The drill sergeant was pleased. "Good. Continue." He screamed in a voice that would make the average person think he was losing his
So-
mind. Just got to say the same thing again, Jacob.
Yeah, you had to say it again.
Ha ha ha. You're all getting punished because of me.
I said again, "Good. Screamage, trainee Linfeld." The trainee instructor said with an increasingly large grin on his face. "Oh, this is great. Again, Jacob, please."
Ha ha ha. You're all getting punished because of me.
Tommy's saying it, he's just losing more of himself.
Yeah, he's like, is he like nodding off in a chair or something?
A bit.
I feel that, dude. I do feel that. We're not too
Before
far
we
there.
continue,
We've only got like a few pages left.
before we
Yeah, not that
continue,
much.
does anyone feel like this is going to go like really poorly? Like something terrible's gonna happen? I feel this is a build up to something terrible's gonna happen.
I hope something terrible happens. I hope what it is it basically it turns into the beginning of Starship Troopers, but they do a training exercise and he gets shot, and then the rest of the book is just describing his body decaying.
Excellent. I would, yeah, I'll read that book.
Or better yet, he's actually sent to Clan Defu and he just gets killed by a giant bug or something.
Yeah.
I screamed as I stared at all the trainees doing push-ups. They were clearly getting more and more angry with me as the pain in their arms intensified. It was in that moment the reality of my situation sank in. I personally liked doing push-ups. Oh, all right. The more I did them, the more I could do. It was incredible to watch my arms essentially level up. These trainees obviously did not feel the same as I did. I had seen people in movies that were killed by their fellow man for less than what I was actively doing to my peers. Just looking at their faces shaking, turning red, their eyes locked on me as they pushed. It was one of the few moments in my life that changed me. Oh
Oh,
God.
something
Ugh.
is gonna happen.
Okay, so I'm just going to read some super chats. So thank you very much to Pimp Demon saying excuse me, but that rhyme was amazing, 10 out of 10. It was amazing, except for the well, actually, the second verse. Still some working on. Good rhyme that with Godzilla though, I suppose. Thank you very much, Show Shiro Game, for the £5. Fun fact: the dead cockroach exercise is actually a punishment, not a sadistic game. Onision just didn't understand what was going on in the military. There you go. And Gemma, please explain what Keckoff the bastard has sent us.
Let's see. It's like a pear, and it's got some dumbbells, and it says "keep it up."
So it's an exercising pair that says
Yeah.
keep it up.
But why is it a pair? Thank
Why
you
isn't it
for
a
the-
pair more
for
often is the real question.
$4.99. I'm now asking more questions than I will ever get. And yeah, Gemma, feel free to read out the last one.
The last super chat, or
Hey, yeah.
Pimp Demon, thanks for the 20 kroner. So the drill sergeant is Emperor Palpatine.
Pretty much. How many pages? Oh, we've only got 2 pages. Did you want to read, or do you want me to finish it? I don't mind.
I'll read the last couple of pages then.
Well
Yeah. I am living amongst animals that know their emotions more than basic reasoning. These were animals that could only see what was in front of them, and in their haze of anger, they didn't have even a slight idea of what was over the horizon. It was the instinct-driven, intellectually bankrupt animal mentality so many of my peers embraced. And for...
Oh my god, someone please fucking knife this
Yes.
cunt.
God.
Just the sergeant next to him, pull out your gun and just put a fucking bullet in his brain.
Honestly.
And for that, I learned to always fear them. How could I possibly trust these raging idiots? Alright,
I don't know, how could you? Is that an open question?
it's rhetorical, obviously. I'm often a person who plans before he acts. I mean...
Clearly, this has shown otherwise,
It's
hasn't
like
it?
you beat up your
Like,
father.
remember all the time when you planned, where you punched a guy in the throat, broke his face, and then
Don't
threatened to
know.
knife another guy? Remember the time when you planned to insult your father's girlfriend and then proceeded to kick the shit out of him?
Oh.
Remember when you planned to nearly get beaten up by a policeman because you didn't eat your din-dins? Fucking
Top
goddamn... Yeah, like, fuck it, just as planned is fucking stamped on this motherfucker's forehead.
Yeah, God's sake. If I want something done, I rarely do it in the moment.
Yes, what?
I lay it all out
Lies!
and proceed when
Lies! Sorry,
and
go.
proceed when I'm certain of success. Except when you don't.
Absolute lies. Yeah, except when you're getting kicked out of school because you're turning up like looking like a school shooter and breaking someone's arm because you think you're fucking Neo or something. I don't know. I'd rather be Morpheus, to be fair.
I think everyone would rather be
Oh.
Morpheus in that situation.
I'd want to look like Keanu Reeves, though. Anyway, sorry. Moving on.
It's only when I'm faced with extremes that I'm forced to react without forethought. These children in the bodies of men, laying on their aching chests at my feet. What?
What?
All vulnerable and ready to be chained up.
I don't like where this is going.
Why does he just feel the need to just go on about shit? Why do I also feel the need to do it? Sorry.
They
Gemma.
were performing such a simple exercise, and it caused them to look as murderous as I had ever seen anyone be. I was nothing like them.
Like, why are these people so mad at me? I'm super good at push-ups. Just because I snickered and and the sergeant decided to make them all do push-ups while I point and laugh at them. Why are they all taking it out on me?
It was like, why?
Like, Jacob, you could, like, you're in the room with them. You can join in with the conversation. You don't need to just keep posting into the chat.
I think it's hilarious. Okay, I see you. You little yellow bar. Stood. That's what I'm gonna call you.
I was gonna say, like, yellow bar. Is that a racial insult, Toby? Fucking yellow bars.
He's got a yellow bar around his bloody name because he's the MVP on this channel.
Yes, Cove. I mean, you've got a line coming up soon.
I'm doing the night.
So
Okay.
Is it gonna be? Is it gonna be exactly the same line? I think it
is
might
the same
be.
line.
Go on.
Scream it, trainee Linfeld. The TI commanded.
You're all getting punished because of me.
My yell was no longer monotone. The confident scream.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
The confident scream I had before was replaced by something weak and distorted. The instructor could see I was disturbed by what was happening. It was only then he commanded everyone to stand. And reassumed their formation at the position of attention. While my experience in basic were not that significant, those select moments stood out to me. Those moments made me learn a lot about how easy it is to manipulate and control people.
Nothing really needs to be said there, does it?
Yeah.
Sergeant Johnson alone could write a book on emotional warfare.
I'm sorry, Gemma. That fucking hits home,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Jesus Christ. That's one of the moments that I thought, you know what? I'm gonna stop manipulating people. All right, that's gonna be great.
Like,
Look up.
so say if you did have physical, say if you did have like a physical copy of his books, you need to put little marks that look like little, red flags at certain points in the book.
Yeah, it's like just major red flags.
Yeah.
Oh god. Sergeant Johnson alone could write a book on emotional warfare. Every other weekend she was threatening to withhold letters from home. She would tell us one day that... I can hear myself.
That's not
I
me.
can sort of hear the beginning
No,
of what I say sometimes. She would tell us one day we were amazing and the next day we were scum. These animals posting as airmen in training would take it out on each other. Not seeing she was fabricating problems out of nothing, just to make us squirm for her sadistic pleasure. The enjoyment Sergeant Johnson took out of putting us in the positions of dead insects, torturing us by using gravity itself against us. The way my fellow trainees fell for every trick and trap along the way, some even breaking down, literally crying for their mummy. The only respect I had left for anyone in that entire building was the tech sergeant. He showed me in a matter of minutes how quickly he could turn a group of men against me.
I let the variable listen how to be a giant hate sink. It would save me well in my later in my life.
Look, it was something most people never learn. Men are weak, often able to be controlled by even mild influences. Most men I've known should not be trusted, including me. What's this sort of weird attitude against anyone that's not him?
I would say he's just had a weird attitude towards anyone who isn't him for the entire book, so not really any different.
This sort of thing where it's like men and women, they're terrible, terrible things. I joined the military to escape the enemy in my home, but here I found the world is full of people who are ready and willing to write you off over nothing.
Shut up, cunt.
It's 2 paragraphs, Jacob. We're almost done.
I imagine Jacob's actually nodded off and he's just saying that in his sleep.
Oh,
Come.
oh,
Maybe.
Fucking.
who cares about the consent laws? Huh?
Maybe the hatred I expressed earlier in this journal wasn't so far off. Maybe I'm not becoming more mature, but simply losing my grip on reality. Escaping my father gave me hope, and like a new goldfish given to a child, my hope is rapidly expiring. People say teenagers are stupid and out of touch with reality, but if our bodies die the more we age, what's to say we as people don't also die emotionally too? Are we really growing up?
This sounds like a weird justification for being attracted to teenagers.
It is. Or is that just a nice way of saying we're dying both on the inside and out? And then that's...
Do you reckon that is something he actually said to one of his ex-girlfriends?
I
Are we really growing up, or is that just a nice way of saying we're dying both on the inside and out? I reckon he actually said that. That's fucking
I'm
horrible.
pretty sure he's probably said that to anyone he's ever met. Like his doctor.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, that was life changing. Spectacular.
Okay, so I don't really know anything about like actual training in the military. Like all I've ever seen is just like shit in films and stuff like that. But what has happened so far doesn't sound like all that. People, someone who's in the chat who may have been in the military, has he described it as like some sort of hellish, like abnormal sort of thing? Because it just sounds like whenever you see in a film or anything, that's just what happens.
Well, he was in the military.
Like the.
And like.
Yeah, I know, but like he's like, oh, it was a hellish training. Like I was psychologically tortured. It just sounds like, yeah, this is the sort of thing they just do. This just sounds just like he went
to the military.
To a military and made it. He's trying to make it sound like. I mean, I don't think it's like trying to join the military. He's like all sun and rose there, but he
Sun
just
and raisins.
Yeah, sun and raisins, delicious raisins, sunshine and roses. But is he just like whining about like, oh no, they didn't like roll out the red carpet and present me all the young newborn girls?
Well, I'll read out the super chats that came before the end of the chapter. Tai Wei, thank you for the $5. I'm a banana. I'm a banana. I'm a banana.
You don't need to read it
I'm not
all.
gonna read it all, but thank you very much for the $5. And some English bloke, thanks to the £5. Remember, it's just a bad dream, Onion Boy. And Sam, thanks for the $2. He needs to bite the therapy curb. So I like the fact that the next chapter is called Failure to Perform.
Which was the chapter he had sex in the first time? I think he swapped the chapter titles round.
Yeah, pretty much. Sun and raisins.
Never gonna go with sun and raisins. Oh yeah, that was shit. That was great.
Yeah. Cool.
Therapy curb, I agree. We need one of them.
Cool, do you have anything to say?
No.
He's asleep.
Cool.
I think
so. That was us and half of Cobe.
Yes.
Thanks for coming, everyone. I'm gonna play Super Mario.
Yeah.
Nice. Which one?
Mario Kart.
Cool. I did. Oh, we'll catch you later. And I will catch you all later. See you next time for the next edition of Onion Boys Adventure.
Yeah. And this was our Valentine's episode.
Oh yeah, Valentine's episode. Happy Valentine's.
In which he, like, you know, the very romantic things of calling the police when your children won't eat their dinner and breaking up with your girlfriend in high school and joining the military. All very classic, you know, Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I've wound up in a lobby with like really high ranked players. One of them was like 72,000.